Welcome back in, and what an exciting day at the... Wait. We didn't have to go to the movies this week. I got to watch so many movies that are available right now. Like Netflix, I think, dropped 3, right? Because they have the English film Bull that came out as well. And that one is on the queue for next week, so look forward to that review.
And the 2 in theater that did come out got totally bombed, so we kind of
that's unfortunate.
A minefield there.
Demeter looked really good in the trailer.
That's the Dracula movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even out in England yet. Not even out.
Bomb.
Wow.
It's bombing hard.
It's not going to come.
Is it? It got good reviews from artistic crowds, though, which is weird. Because I was reading like the artistic reviews from like the film festivals, and they said it was a very interesting take on the Dracula story and things like that.
Okay,
so
I believe that.
Maybe
I'll watch it,
liked it,
but not in theater probably.
Yeah, and Gran Turismo, honestly, I waffled on it, but when I couldn't find a good seat, I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit in a terrible seat with a bunch of people that are really excited to see this terrible movie while I'm like laughing at all the parts that I know are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that and Meg 2 I even looked at. But also I was like, do I want to commit 2 hours to Meg 2? Is that what I want to do with my life?
No.
So I decided against it. Now, we do have all of our films that we were watching this week. Jordan looked like a chipmunk because he had some teeth pulled. Josh was doing his thing. So if we could get to it, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs, we use the stuff that gets you drunk. So that was 2 good ones. Mm-hmm. We're on a Coors kick. Oh, and then Michael Bublé.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny, guys, is where I'm at, this is an import.
It's not even worth putting on a truck.
So, Jordan, tell us what you were watching this week. Well, you were kicked back with your feet up in the air because your mouth hurt.
Right. I'm going to start off with a really obscure, weird movie. I don't know how I got to watch this. It popped up on my Max feed. I was looking for something. I was real desperate. Mm-hmm. It's from 2013. It's called Kill Your Darlings. And it's based on a true story. It takes place in the 40s. I believe it's the all-star cast that pulled me into it because I saw starring Daniel Radcliffe. And this is like, Harry Potter ended around that time, right? Around 2013. So it was like, he's trying to rebrand. So I was like, okay. Dane DeHaan, if you don't know, you know his face for sure, but not a household name per se. Elizabeth Olsen, David Cross, Michael C. Hall. So pretty big cast. I was like, all right, I might be into this. It's a true crime movie about a gay love triangle or square, maybe, between some Columbia College poets trying to be all radical on their campus, and then it turns out deadly. People start killing each other. Yeah.
Madness ensues.
Yeah. It's super artsy. There's some interesting dialogue in it because they're all smart and artsy-fartsy, but, you know, it's kind of it's a slog and doesn't really go anywhere, so it's a popcorn.
A popcorn. Artsy-fartsy is your phrase of the day.
Yeah.
Said it twice in the production meeting, and we're already at 1 in the show. So I'm just going to keep it an artsy-fartsy counter, and let's see how many times we can get an artsy-fartsy. What was next?
Yeah, I watched a bunch of things that have kind of already been previously watched and reviewed on the show, so I just wanted to catch up a little bit. I watched Secret Invasion on Disney+.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting bombed, but I don't see what's particularly bad about it. Honestly,
it's not good.
It's not great, but it's not like the worst Marvel thing I've seen. Like, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's a little formulaic, and they played it really safe, kind of corny at times. It really just felt like they wanted to get this one out of the way.
Yep.
To just move on.
Which is unfortunate because Secret Invasion is a big deal in the comics. It lasted a year across so many different titles. Captain America, all of them were involved in the Secret Nation, and to relegate it to just a show that's mediocre, like the bar for a lot of people, not necessarily for me, the bar has been like lowered over and over and over, and this is just them lowering the bar again, according to some folks. I thought it was okay. I liked it, but it's just
Super Scroll
unfortunate.
Storyline is a great storyline. You're right, Josh. Yep. They wasted a great storyline. Like when the helicarrier lands and it's all Super Scrolls posing as the Avengers. That's like an iconic scene in both the comic books and the cartoon, and you never got that.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like action wise and all that for Disney plus Marvel. Like, I mean, we all know that the Daredevil, Punisher, those Netflix Marvels, they got pretty brutal on there. But for a Disney plus Marvel, this was a pretty brutal show. Some the guy gets his hand stabbed and he kind of just rips through his hand and just stuff like that. It's kind of visceral.
Okay.
I watched it practically in one sitting, and I didn't really feel like bored or disinterested about it. I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm in it. This is fine. I give it a popcorn and a beer.
Okay, a bridge to Marvels, right? That and but I liked Ms. Marvel more than I liked this one. Now the first 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel, rough to watch, but it found its footing in the 3rd episode, and I started to like it more once we got to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th episode. So, and I think that's an origin story, right? Some hit and some don't.
But I think the only issue I really, really had with that show is that they stretched it too long, like Luke Cage. They had too many episodes they added storylines they didn't, you know what I mean? Just make it about this one thing. It was too much. It just stretched. A lot of adjectives.
Okay.
I watched former Butter on Top, Asteroid City, Wes Anderson. I watched that on streaming on Peacock now. So I'm going to keep this short. This is very odd, even by Wes Anderson standards.
Yeah.
You have to be well-versed and prepared to get this movie. But, even being slightly prepared for what was coming, I felt like it lacked the usual charm and relatability of the Wes Anderson movies. The relatability to him that you can find in them because they are very just him and his persona and his style. But I couldn't take my eyes off of it, wanting to see what was going to happen next.
There's so many storylines going on. There's so many. If you're paying attention, there's so many different storylines, and also so many thoughts or takes on today's society or societal issues. That you just have to be paying attention to the dialogue is so crucial in Asteroid City. Like you have to pay. I needed subtitles. I'm not gonna lie.
The color palettes in every scene, fantastic, and that's something I don't usually notice. But like that was like, wow, that really popped to me. Speaking of pop, I give the movie a popcorn. That's it. Sorry, yeah.
All right.
Maybe I have to watch it a second time. I feel like that's
a movie you
need to watch multiple times.
It's kind of like that with, I think with Wes Anderson and the Coen brothers most of the time. The second time you watch it, you're like, okay. So I'm waiting for the next time I see Asteroid. Because I think I made it a popcorn in 1. I think it could be a popcorn in 3. I just got to see it again.
It's on Peacock.
I got to watch No Hard Feelings, which you've reviewed. You've seen this one in theater. Yep, caught just a random showing of it. It was an opportunistic viewing.
There we go.
Raunchy comedy starring Jennifer Lawrence. It's great. I give it a popcorn and a beer for what it is. Like you were saying, the raunchy comedy. It fits that. If you just think of it in that strict parameter, it's a good movie. There's a skinny dipping scene that is up there with all comedy skinny dipping scenes.
Really?
You're gonna laugh out loud.
I told you in my review. It's one of the best beach scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's great. And then the scene where he sings "Man Eater," the awkward star of the movie, and plays on the piano. And it's one of those scenes where it's like almost like he had that written in his contract, like, oh, everybody knew when they hired him, like, this kid is amazing on the piano. So they had to write in this scene where he gets to perform. You know what I mean? Just so he could like blow everybody away. I was shocked watching. It's like, holy crap, this is coming from that kid?
He's good on the ivories.
Yeah,
the ivories, as they say.
So yeah, definitely a good watch if you're looking for the raunchy summer comedy, popcorn and beer again.
Popcorn and a beer. Well, I watched Untold, the story of Johnny Manziel on Netflix, preparing for one of our other properties, The Sad Fan, so our spaceship, our main sails, if you will. And I got to tell you, it was disappointing, and a lot of people were talking about it. It is a crazy story, and there was a lot I forgot about. I forgot about how extravagant it was. Number one takeaway you get is they lied about the family money. Apparently the family didn't come from a ton of money, and he was just signing tons of autographs, which we knew he was doing, but he was making more money than even we knew. And how was he laundering the money? Through his grandfather. Through his grandfather. Another major takeaway here was that the NCAA and Texas A&M are essentially promoting slave labor. There's no other way to say it. Right? They made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he talks about it, how 40,000 number 2 jerseys sold, and he didn't see a cent from it. Not a single cent. And that's the story of so many athletes that take the field in college athletics, where these colleges make so much money on their backs, and they say, well, they got an education. Some of them, if you go all the way back, don't even get a full meal card on their education. A lot of NFL players were talking about that, how they don't even have the scholarship that they get, they don't even have full cafeteria access. So they're not even getting full meals on their scholarship, so they do still have to work.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah. It's essentially like, and one of my favorite takes is Dan Levitard, where he's like, could you imagine if we tried to pay Nick Saban in books? Like, here, Nick Saban, take some books, right? And that's what it is, and that was a big takeaway. So if you want to know how heartless the NCAA is, that's it. And it's shamateurism, as so many have said before. And that was a big takeaway. However, the documentary itself is a popcorn. It was not a good documentary. It was all stuff like, oh, yeah, that happened. But you already knew it. They didn't go into too much into... You could tell Johnny Manziel had his hands on this. That's what I'll say. Lots of stuff you already knew. Then I watched Adam Eve. You two have already reviewed it. Great cartoon. Great animation, pardon me, is what I wanted to say there. Her dad, what an asshole.
Yeah,
what an asshole her dad is. I said it already twice. We're good there. We don't need to say it again. But the other takeaway I had from this movie, since you guys already reviewed it, I gave it a pop 2. Go back and watch the old episodes of Popcorn and Beers, Adam Eve. It leads into the Invincible cartoon, which is fantastic. It's a series. It's not a cartoon for children. But here you go. You guys didn't talk about this. I'm very disappointed. Olive and cream cheese sandwich.
Oh, God. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
Weird.
That is the most white people thing I've ever heard.
No, that's like elder Caucasian spells right there, dude.
And I was like, how did they not talk about this? It comes up twice in the 55 minutes that this movie runs.
Yeah.
Olive and cream cheese sandwich.
Alien food.
It's like pimento burritos.
God.
All right. Now, next, you know what's actually really good on that subject, though, Josh? A nopal burrito. If you guys have ever had an opportunity to get a nopal burrito, oh my gosh. Like, unexpectedly, it was very, very good. You know what nopal is?
No.
Cactus,
yeah. And I had one because I didn't know what it was. So I was like, screw it, I'll take 2. And then I texted my buddy who speaks fluent Spanish. I was like, hey, what is this? And he's like, hey, it's a cactus burrito. He's like, it's really good. And I ate it. I was like, damn, this is really good.
Good.
That sounds cool.
It's good, man. I didn't expect it, but I love trying new foods.
Yeah.
Finally, I watched Robots, not to be confused with the former Drunk Classic Robots. This is about a android that, or a time when androids take over and they take all the jobs from the immigrants. And it's a take on society, really. They really want to get that across right from the beginning because it's very interesting they chose New Mexico and not Texas, but it is a New Mexico film because New Mexico is much more in line with allowing immigration and allowing immigrants to work than Texas is. But it's a big spiel at the very beginning. If you want to watch it about how New Mexico was able to get the wall built, which I was very confused about. I wrote New Mexico with a question mark. Now, Tesla... Another shot, if you've been keeping up with popular culture, this is another shot fired at a company that's kind of been not to do this, but under fire for a lot of different reasons, especially their CEO and his beliefs. So Tesla is the creator of these androids, and it's illegal in this world to have an android of yourself. But we have two main characters played by Jack Whitehall and Shailene Woodley that do this, and they do this to con people. One does it, the gentleman, to con people. His name is Charles, because he is a misogynist, pig, womanizer. And he uses his android to go out and meet women, take them on all kinds of dates, get them to like him so he can eventually have sex with them. That's his whole storyline. Her storyline is she uses her android to be a gold digger because she doesn't want to be beholden to anything. She uses her android to go out and have sex with men and date them, so they buy her things.
Opposite.
And she has a purse fetish. Exactly. And of course, the androids fall in love with each other. And as I said for Jordan's movie, madness ensues. One of the funniest things is, and let me go back here. This is just a pop one for me. But one of the funniest things here for me is that the one, it's at the very beginning. The line is, "Why did you put this on social media, you helping this lady?" And he goes, "What do you mean? Altruism is an important part of society." And he goes, "Altruism only counts if you can put it on social media to get me laid." And I was like, wow, society today. How about it? Just put it out there. Now, the mix-up scene is very funny. I'm not going to lie. That actually made me laugh out loud. But again, like I said, it's overall a poppin' one. It's worth the quick 90 minutes it takes to watch it. You're in, you're out, you're on with life. Outside of that, it's not going to change your world. It's not super amazing, but there are a couple of moments where you will get a chuckle. So, Josh, on to you, sir. What were you watching?
You want to know what I was watching? I watched something. I did not see coming. Total curveball on the Algo. You know what I mean? On the Hulu. Maybe it's a new release, but it's called "Smoking Causes Coughing," and that's a weird title. And I look at the image, and it's like a Power Ranger situation. Like they're all power people. What is that called in Japanese? Who cares? Sentai, Super Sentai? That's the style, the genre.
Let's just go right into the weeds.
Smoking Causes Coughing. It's a French movie, and it's about these Power Ranger types, but it's so absurdist in general. The Power Ranger type people are different aspects of a cigarette. So there's tar, there's nicotine. They all have a name, and they surround the bad guy and they shoot their poisonous gas at him. They give the monster that they have to fight cancer, and it explodes in a like multi-gallon mess of blood. So now they're all covered in blood and doing high fives, and they do on these missions. There's
what kind of cancer does that?
Right? It's like. It's
the worst cancer.
It's one of the funnier movies I've seen in a while, mostly because of just how strange the style of comedy was.
Ironically or unironically?
No, like it was funny. Like it was purposely funny. It was a really well-written, funny movie. Like but French. So maybe that's what it is. It's just French. So like this is a weird way to take that joke. Or whatever, I don't know. So they call their boss on the phone, and he's a rat guy, like Master Splinter, but clearly a puppet. And he's telling them their mission. And as he's talking, just like green goo starts just dripping out of his mouth. And that's just part of it. They joke about that. It's just there's a fish that tells them a story.
There's a fish that tells them a story.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I really hope everyone watches this movie. It's not for everyone, but it's so weird and awesome. I'm gonna give it a popcorn and 2. It was fantastic.
All right.
Now on to another. Let's go popcorn and 3. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Gets a popcorn and 3. We've talked about it before. It's wonderful. The only thing I wanted to note is something I picked up after watching it this time. The movie starts off with Radiohead, "I'm a Creep," and then Rocket's walking around, right? And at the end of that sequence, Quill asks him something. I thought I told you to stop eating my sandwiches or whatever, you dumb raccoon. And as Rocket says, "I'm not a raccoon," the song says, "But I'm a creep." That timing was so good. That was a long story. Lastly, I watched Ladies First. It's a story of women in hip hop. It's a 4-piece documentary about hip hop historically from the eyes of women throughout, and it's got a lot of names, mostly names I don't know because it's from the beginnings, but also Queen Latifah's in it. Quite a few people speak.
The Brat was in it. I saw that.
The Brat's in it. Young, was it Lil Ma? Young M.A.?
Young M.A.?
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, buddy.
Saweetie is in it too, right?
Yep. Saweetie's in it. A lot of folks are. Notably not anyone who's really big, like Nicki's not in it and Megan's not in it. They talk about Megan for a while, though. It's a really well organized look at hip hop history, especially from the eyes of women. Interesting things from the documentary series. Excuse me. The first diss track was written by a woman, and she was overnight popular. Yeah, 16-year-old woman named Roxanne Shante, and I forgot who she was dissing, but it became this whole thing, and she was just some kid who put her track on the radio, local radio, the Bronx. And it made the rounds. And then eventually, like what she said when she was, talking, that you made it when someone names your project building after you. So at a certain point, people point at that building over there. That's where Roxanne Shante lives. That's her building. So she's like, that's how I knew I made it. The whole building of in the projects, this particular building that's mine. That's pretty cool. Someone mentioned the context was just women in hip hop in general and the style. Eloquent rage was a really good way to put it. I like that sometimes. Sister Soulja said that. Missy Elliott, holy crap. They talked about her for a long time. Another couple quotes that I heard. We know we're dope. They'll catch up. So they focused on that a lot with the media, the record label, or the men, all of them. That women have to work harder to get noticed, and there's not many. There's the first lady is what people are known as when you get picked up. Like Terror Squad had Eve, and then Young Money has Nicki. There's always just this is the girl. I'm the girl character. So there could be 7 men, and there's always just one woman. Yeah.
Like and the Fugees had Lauryn Hill.
Fugees had Lauryn Hill. They talk about her for quite a while. It's really well documented.
Did you say the Fugees were Lauryn Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Wyclef is a wonderful man. Nobody cares about Praz.
Yeah.
But he produced some great music, too. Like, he found some great artists as well. It's not just about his music. Like, he discovered Lauryn Hill to defend Wyclef.
Another thing is they talked about women inside the industry, not just the entertainers, but people who worked on something. I forgot the song, but there's this one particular woman who's been throughout the industry. She's been in it for a long time. She came up with the idea for a certain very, very famous record, and then she got it working, and she called the right people, like P. Diddy was involved. They changed up this one song, and it became this huge song, and it was all her idea. She didn't even get a credit for it. Like, everyone else took the credit for it. And she said that was the moment. By this point, I realized I can't stay in this industry. I can't start a label. I am a woman. Unless someone powerful is fucking me. Unquote. Real powerful. So they talk about the triumphs, the energy of it, the bad parts of it. Women have always had it harder. It's just the way it is. Really interesting takes. I give it a popcorn and 1.
Okay.
Maybe I'll say it 2, just because it's hard to get the voice out for this particular demographic, and I'm glad they did such a good job at it.
Right, and that was on Netflix, correct?
Correct.
All right, Jordan, lead the way. You had the Drunk Classic this week.
I did, and I selected yesterday. As we mentioned earlier, I had
2019.
Yeah. It's a comfort movie for me, and I had some oral surgery this week, had some wisdom teeth pulled, so I wanted a good comfort movie, and I want to bring you guys along with me. Okay. It was a YouTube rental. So the plot basically is a worldwide blackout happens at the same time. A struggling, fizzling out musician, his solo music sucks. He gets hit by a bus, at the same time as this blackout,
Literally.
and he wakes up to find out a number of things have never occurred, like the forming of the Beatles and a few bands that have been inspired by them, and for some reason Coca-Cola as well doesn't exist. And cigarettes, yeah. And my question is, if this, if the Beatles never existed, would you be able to recreate their music?
Right.
From top to bottom, right?
From top to bottom.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Maybe one or two songs.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics, at least.
Maybe Hold Your Hand. Maybe, what is it, Flat Top? See, no, I couldn't. There you go.
Yep, come on, Flat Top. No one knows the words to that.
The star of the movie is Himesh Patel.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Very endearing, and his character is just a much better person than anyone else would be in that situation. And it's kind of annoying to see just from the outside. You're like, oh, come on, man! Like you're looking at gift horse in the mouth. I like that saying better.
Me too.
Lily James is a doll. You might know her from playing Pamela Anderson in the big Seth Rogen Tommy and Pamela documentary. That's her.
I refuse to watch that.
I didn't know
because Pam Anderson asked people not to watch it because they didn't pay her for it. They stole
didn't pay her?
No, they stole that from her just like the porn was stolen from her.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to watch it then. If Hulu didn't reach out to her and offer her some compensation for telling a story that she literally went to court to get stopped, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Terrible,
you're a better person than I am because I watched the hell out of it. No.
I also like one of the reviews I heard is it has a talking penis. And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need
I'm out. We're
good. She's a doll in the movie, Lily James, and I hate when the movie is like the person has all this stuff start to go for them, and they have this friendship or whatever, and then the girl or guy has to make them choose between the success and them. It's like, why?
That's in my notes.
Yeah, why can't you have it all?
Yeah, like you just quit your job. It's over.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
He's literally now the Beatles. He's going to be wealthy until the end of time. Yeah. And you're living in modern society, so just buy your masters right away.
Yeah. His roadie, his friend who plays his roadie partner guy, Rocky in the movie. I feel like he steals every scene. That guy's great. I'd like to see him in more things. His
Cruella de Vil's henchman.
That's right. His timing is really good, comedically and all that. The scene where he plays "Let It Be" for his parents, and they're like, "Oh, he's playing his new song. Leave it be." No, "Let It Be." Yeah.
I love his monologue there when he explodes and he's like, "This is like watching Da Vinci paint." And he's like going in.
Yeah. They're the first people ever in the history to hear this song. The parents completely shrug him off. The Ed Sheeran scene, the song off that they have in the bar. Ed Sheeran, by the way, plays a regularly appearing cameo in this movie. He's throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's such a memorable, kind of provoking scene, but it also makes Ed Sheeran kind of come off a little prickish. Because he's obviously trying to show him up.
Everything. I wrote that. Ed Sheeran plays a total dick.
Yeah. He's trying to the scene is supposed to make you feel bad for Ed Sheeran, but he's totally trying to put the guy on the spot and best him, but it doesn't go his way. And it's also funny that at the end he calls Ed Sheeran and Ed Sheeran's ringtone is his own song, The Shape of You.
Yeah.
Just not a good look for Ed Sheeran, but Ed Sheeran's a sweet guy. I like me some Ed Sheeran, but I give this a popcorn and 2.
Popcorn
and 2. Josh, you hadn't seen it yet, I believe, right?
I've not seen it. I really wanted to see it because I enjoy the Beatles as much as the next guy. Not you two morons, but the next guy.
I'm just not a big Beatles guy. That's all.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect.
Yeah, I recognize their mark on music and how they basically developed modern rock and roll.
There's just not enough time. Not enough time. But I did like the movie. I thought though it was just so ham-handed. Everything was just right in front of your face. Like this, well, the best example would be Kate McKinnon's role.
Yeah.
First of all, Parker Posey in Josie and the Pussycats did a much better job of this character. But that's my point. Kate McKinnon was just like right in your face, on the nose. I liked like the idea of what she was doing, like just telling you there's no hidden facade here. I'm going to use you for everything you got. You're going to make me rich. Ha ha ha. And I get that. I just feel like despite the fact she had really good timing with her dialogues, it wasn't funny. Like she was just not. That's the one time I've ever seen her not be good at trying to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like their way of being like, we're not going to make this about industry dynamics. Like they wanted to keep it strictly like
they throw it in your face real quick just so you can move on.
They just wanted to get straight to the sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I feel like most of the movie was. They just shoved stuff together. It was not exactly my style of pacing, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But there's a lot of good parts. I liked most of the movie. It just wasn't. It's a popcorn for me. Popcorn. Yep, popcorn. Not a bad one though.
Maybe caramel corn. Maybe
like a caramel corn. He's an idiot. Like for his choices after and before. He's
how much
moron.
were you holding that in? Like how much were you holding that in? You really wanted to say it.
Yeah.
The way you just blurted it out. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot. And maybe this is like part of people being jealous in general of others who are doing well. He don't even deserve that $1 million, whatever it is. He has the world handed to him. Before all this happens, he has one of the most beautiful, wonderful, manic pixie girls following him around at every step. Yeah. And
not just following, driving him everywhere.
Yeah, taking him everywhere. And he doesn't want to kiss her on the lips.
Yeah.
This guy's he's just dumb.
He's infuriating,
And then he gets given the best universal gift ever, like somehow the wherewithal to make the Beatles' discography from scratch and then get paid for it. I don't know.
And he also, in that vein, can I drop something on you at the end? At the end of the movie, he has the opportunity to present Harry Potter to the world minus J.K. Rowling, which would have been a service to everyone around the world.
Yeah.
And he passes up on that as well. So, yeah, I agree. He's infuriating. He's an idiot. But I love him.
Which is billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
For me, Lily was the perfect casting for her role. I thought she played the role to the T. She was a perfect pour for me in that role.
Perfect role.
Outside of that, I did like the older couple. They're not a couple, pardon me. The two older people that become a couple that recognize when he was in Russia doing the concert. Oh, how does he know this music? Yeah, and then the lady. And at the end, I was like, oh, no, they're going to hate him. They're going to call him a thief. And no, they're just like so grateful that he recreated the music. And I was like, what a wonderful world that was.
Yeah, right.
People weren't assholes, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just grateful you did this. Thank you. As opposed to, you're a thief. Right? Like, in reality, I feel like she would have been a real Karen.
They would have shook him down for some money.
Yeah. Right? But they were just beautiful people. They were very kind. I laughed at Ed Sheeran quite a bit. But the father for me was very comedic. I thought the dad, in the hotel before he performs on the roof, and I see there's 2 sandwiches here, and I just it's so funny to me. Outside of that, a poppin' one. It's a story that's been told 1,000 times. You know, It's a Wonderful Life. Most recently, to my recollection, no, maybe not most recently, but the one that came to mind for me was Family Man with Nicolas Cage. Where it's like, this is what your life could have been.
That's good.
You know?
Yeah. Another thing that was I did laugh out loud at this part, and I don't think it was intentional. They're partying with Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran says, 10 minutes, whoever writes the best song is the best. So they do it. Sheeran says his dumb song, and then the other guy sings one of the
Long
deeper... Long and Winding Road. Holy crap. Wonderful song. So he's like, uh-oh. Ed Sheeran raises his hand like it's a boxing match. Just, well, you're the best artist in the world. You're not allowed to give that title.
Not just that. No. On top of that, I'm so glad you said this, Josh, because what did he say prior to him giving it? They always said one would come along better than me.
Right?
I just didn't think it would.
What is this? Is this an episode of Hercules?
Yeah. So it just interesting as far as that goes. There was a lot in it that was interesting, but a pop one for me. Now on to Heart of Stone. I'm going to lead the way on this one. A spy watching a spy watching a spy.
Right.
Huh. For me, the beginning was the best part because it was almost like a video game, and then outside of that, I was like, "Wow, it's so corny." I put LOL 3 times in my review because I'm like, "LOL, the agent's name is Stone. The movie's called Heart of Stone. How lame is that?"
Yeah.
And then them putting Lizzo in it while all this is going on.
Ooh,
obviously, they didn't have time to fix that. But the system knowing it's getting hacked never happens. It's the 97% can predict the future with 97% accuracy, but it doesn't predict it's about to get hacked.
I never would have thought.
No firewall to prevent it. Also, what is the strategy whenever somebody runs after a car? You're not going to catch the car. Why do we always do this? It's starting to infuriate me the more I'm paying attention to movies. Why?
Mm-hmm.
The motorcycle where she just steals the guy's motorcycle because he decides to take a moment to hit on her again after he already got rejected. So she steals his motorcycle. There was so much in this movie that was bad. It was, what did you say, ham-handed, Josh? Well, this was just corny. This was just a corny movie. I gave it a popcorn. Thank you, Gail Godot, for existing. I think you're a wonderful human. I think you're fun to watch, but you put out a couple stinkers lately.
Yeah. Copy and paste a bunch of spy AI falling into the wrong hands tropes because there's a million of them. And that's this movie. Gal Gadot she's fine in this, just constantly running or riding a motorcycle or doing something.
Dying.
Yeah.
She dies like 3 times.
She dies like 3 times.
There's no witty or interesting dialogue. The German guy, though, from a bunch of other Netflix productions, is always a good grab and stands out. I like him. He's in what is that?
Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves.
Yes. Yeah, I like that guy.
Movies.
He's funny. Movie's completely forgettable. The last few minutes, like the epilogue.
He just dropped that in. It's totally forgettable anyway.
Yeah. The last few minutes, like the epilogue scene after all the action happens and it's like 2 weeks later, got a whole lot more promising, like in that couple minutes, than the entire movie. I was like, okay, they could make don't make it a sequel, just make like a movie with just this dynamic here. And you might have something slightly better and watchable.
Yeah.
But maybe still just don't do it.
Maybe just
popcorn. Yeah.
Popcorn.
Really quick, Josh, right before you go, I love that the German guy goes, just let them die. Run away.
Yeah.
In one of the scenes. Just let them get murdered. Go. You're fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of in line with you guys, but just real quick with this haircut, I don't know if you can picture it in your mind or not. Gal Gadot looked like sometimes she looked like Taylor Swift for some reason, and other times she looked like Famke Janssen, the lady who played Phoenix or Jean Grey.
Okay.
I don't know, just like same jawline, same nose bridge. Anyway, just a little observation. Yeah, this movie was full of it. The dialogue that over-explains stuff. When she's alone in a room looking, like Googling stuff, she just says to herself, "I can't believe it. Europe's most wanted arms dealer seen for the first time in 3 years." Like, who are you talking to? This movie, it was a pretty seemingly high budget. They went on location. It looked like a lot. They had these crazy action sequences. Some of the action sequences, although over the top, weren't that bad. So that's a note. This is a movie that would have attempted for the summer blockbuster 15 years ago. And, the cinema is changing. A lot of people are worried it's going to be all Avengers and then everything else just goes to streaming. Sometimes streaming's okay because of movies like this where you avoid paying $30 to see whatever this was. Yeah. The big technology thing. Sometimes I wonder, movies like this, you wonder if which came first, the technology or the script? Like, we could do this with the thing. Let's make a movie about whatever graphic effect you just figured out how to do.
What do we call it? A heart.
We'll call it the heart. And then, like, Hearts of Stone. Get it? Stone. Agent Stone. So in the beginning, Gal Gadot kills all the guys on the snow lift, right?
Yeah.
And then
with ease.
Yeah. So she's trying to hide her identity or whatever still from her team. And her buddy over the intercom says, "All right, hide the bodies. Get out of there." And so she's like, "Okay." She looks around. There's 8 bodies, and she has like 90 seconds to get all of them hidden. But whatever.
And some of them are giant dead bodies of men.
Big dudes with armor on.
Yeah.
Back to the technology. Do you notice like it's like Matrix level omniscient? Like, where are the cameras? She's flying through the air and we can see her from every angle. That doesn't make any sense. Don't worry about that.
Satellite imagery, bro.
Yeah.
An hour in, I thought the movie was over. Like, oh, we must have like 5 minutes left. Nope, there's still a whole hour left. Holy crap. What was, anyway, cool locations, like I said, cool tech, double, triple crossing, and one of my favorite trope lines in the end, right before she kicks the bad guy in the chest or whatever. She says, do or do, blah, 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 blah. She says a little speech, and then she pauses in time for him to say, "Yeah, well, what's that?" And then she gets to end the line. You know, I always knew something. I finally figured it out. And he says, "Yeah, what's that?" And so she gets to say a line and kick him in the chest. That line has been said so many times in all of movies across cinema. I just love hearing stuff like that. Anyway, that's a popcorn, dude. It's bad.
It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that our drunk classic this week is not a bad movie, because I believe this is going to be more heavy on the James Gunn. Am I mistaken there, or am I accurate as far as the DC universe is concerned? Anyway, let's end the suspense. It's Blue Beetle this week.
Beetle. Oh, the beginning of James Gunn's reign, right?
I believe so. I don't want to be wrong, but I believe this is a movie he's more heavily had his hands in outside of Suicide Squad, right? So let's see how this goes. Hopefully better than Flashpoint Paradox, which, again, as much as it was panned, I didn't think it was the worst movie ever. It's just hard to watch Ezra Miller after everything he's done.
Yeah.
I want to see if you guys can guess what the drunk classic is going to be based on these clues. It's 11 years old, so it puts you in it's 12 years old, pardon me. 12 years old, so 2011. All right. It's got Woody Harrelson, Christopher Walken, one of my personal favorites, as you guys both know, Sam Rockwell, and Colin Farrell.
7 Psychopaths.
Nailed it. It's 7 Psychos.
Never seen it.
Week. You've never seen it?
Nope. Point me.
Oh, finally. I was just talking
this time.
What's that? Yeah, you got a point for this one.
For this week. Jordan's got a point
so
for next week.
So that puts you at 4.
4. Jordan's at 3, and you're at 1?
I'm at 1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm at 1. Which is either good or terrible. Maybe I need to stop watching so many.
Get a life.
Get a life.
Well, I'm excited to watch this one. Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one because I remember seeing it with you in theater. That was the last time I saw it.
Yes.
And I remember leaving the theater like, did I like this movie? I don't remember. I can't tell. So I'll get to have that second rewatch like we talked about earlier. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and see how it goes. But yeah, it's to me, it's a very funny movie with a lot of good action and a lot of actors where you're like, I really like that actor.
Yeah, and everyone gets good lines. I remember that.
Everyone gets good lines. And as for this, Jordan, where can they reach us?
At Popcorn and Beers on Twitter.
On Twitter, and hopefully soon we will have an Instagram and a TikTok for all of you to view some of our clips so you can catch some of the show in short spurts. We really love everything you guys are doing. Please comment at us with a movie we've missed. I got Rumble in the Bronx. Somebody wants one of us to watch Rumble in the Bronx and review Rumble in the Bronx. Okay. So that's one that's been sent my way. And there's some other ones that I'll share with you guys later, all right? I think The Jackal. Somebody said watch The Jackal.
It's a jackal. A jackal.
I've seen The Jackal. But as for this week, we'll see you at the movies. You bring the popcorn, and we got the beer.